Welcome back. The National Council of Provinces is focusing on local government this week. They're holding a series of hearings around the problems in councils, also trying to improve the oversight of local government. The Secretary to Parliament is Xolile George. He's also, of course, you may remember, played an important role in the South African Local Government Association until, well, quite recently. Mr. George, good afternoon to you. I don't know if I still call you the new Secretary to Parliament. Thank you for your time. What's the National Council of Provinces trying to do with this focus on local government? What's the aim?
Thank you very much, Stephen, and good afternoon to Newzroom Afrika viewers. This local government week is the 12th of its sitting, and this was conceptualized in 2012 by SALGA, working with the National Council of Provinces, to really connect the three spheres of government around areas that would practically give meaning to the aspirations of Section 40 and 41 of the Constitution, that is about enhancing cooperative governance in service of communities. So on this 12th edition of the Local Government Week, you would also recall, Stephen, that it coincides with the 5th administration of local government that was ushered in from 1 November 2021. So it is essentially looking at a theme that is aimed at advancing our collective effort as the three spheres to promote accountability as well as strengthening performance of oversight. And this theme is chosen particularly to look at how do we anchor right at the beginning the commitment of the new leadership, corps of local government, the new mayors, the new speakers and managers that have just joined the system on its 5th administration, taking into account that it's now 21 years, Stephen, that we have a system of local government, and it has experienced so much problems, as well as in the same process acknowledging the key gains made in improving the quality of life of citizens. So the choice of advancing collective effort to strengthen oversight is really aimed at putting measures around ensuring that accountability is going to be the primacy of this term of government. When wrongdoing is happening, when responsiveness is expected by citizens, we need local government leaders who will be at the forefront of championing the cause of accountability, whilst at the same time be true to their value system that they have pledged of being a service to communities, and also ensuring that they would summon their best energies, working with communities to improve the quality of their lives. So this discussion today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, culminating into a debate in the House, in the NCOP, is about identifying what are some of the areas that already exist in law around enhancing accountability but are not implemented. What are the new measures that we need to do to also ensure that all of us in local government, in province, national, and in parliament, we do our work to champion accountability and also ensure that we can improve what is evidently erosion of trust, the deficit that is increasingly defining the relationship between those who are elected and those who are served. So this conversation is about lifting that right at the beginning of the term.
So, I mean, everything that you say is important. I think a lot of people just want one thing. They want services to improve. Do you believe, and this is services from local government, do you believe there's almost a direct line between what the National Council of Provinces is going to be doing and improving those services?
There is, Stephen, in the sense that a number of instruments that have been raised to be central to improving accountability have been implemented, have been tested. In a number of areas, it is not the absence of rules. It is neither the absence of clarity of laws. It is about the degree of inertia that exists in the system, where people will receive reports from the Auditor General and do absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the question is not about expressing a view on how we can eschew that. It is about those who hold the levers of power to say, what do we do in instances when there's clear evidence of wrongdoing, when rules are clearly broken, and those who have responsibility may either be sitting at province, may either be sitting at national. I keep on making one example, Stephen. The system is designed such that out of the three spheres, we are interconnected, we are interrelated, yet we may operate from distinct systems. So when it comes to allocation of responsibilities on powers, nobody is an island. So in other words, you receive the same money from the national fiscus. So when the system says that you are not acting according to set rules, you are not exhibiting the kind of value system that is required. The system within its own shared responsibilities, others hold the power to hold you accountable. The question is, are they holding you accountable? So our conversation is about not asking for new rules, but about ensuring that we can put our best foot forward to extract consequences and accountability where it matters most. For instance, allocating resources to an institution that is a serial offender of non-submission of financial statements to Auditor General in the presence of managers. So the question should not be about, do we allocate more money to an institution that fails to account for what it is? Or do we ask as part of resource allocation, tell us why should we allocate this budget to you when your current CFO, if it's a CFO, or your current municipal manager has failed to account for resources that have been allocated or has produced this disclaimed financial statement for a number of years, for a number of, not once off, but then you allocate resources around. So we're saying, can we exercise our collective effort as those who are responsible to make sure that we can extract maximum accountability and consequences in the system to shift the cause of responsible governance?
So, Mr. George, I mean, again, I hear all of that. But if you look at, for example, what happened at Xolile in Northwest, what was it, 2 years, where this council claimed to have 2 speakers and 2 mayors. Aren't the problems political? I mean, and if they're political, can politicians in the National Council of Provinces really fix them?
Stephen, it's not to say all problems are technical. That's not the point I'm making. There's a myriad of challenges. Those who require political solutions must be carried out through political means, no doubt. There are many of those. But when they start manifesting themselves in the domain of governance, there are those who've got levers of control and influence to direct efforts around good governance. So we've got to play our roles, not to say ignore the political issues, but when you have a responsibility as MEC, you have a responsibility as minister, you have a responsibility as a mayor and a speaker, first and foremost, to the extent that these ones are within your full scope of influence, exercise those to cause a shift in the system. Those who require political party interface, of course, many of the players would be coming either from those political parties. They too must ensure that within the realm of politics, they are able to take those matters to that level.
I'm afraid I still don't see it. Maybe I'm having a stupid Tuesday, but I don't see how politicians are fixing political problems, frankly, anywhere. And I appreciate the work that the National Council of Provinces does. And I mean no disrespect when I say, can politicians really make other politicians work better, particularly when they come from the same party? And I'm afraid to say I'm quite cynical about that.
No, I understand. What the system requires in our constitution, it's founded on a value system that all of us will need to commit. And I'm not really raising idealistic issues. I'm just telling you the social compact that is expected in terms of our constitutional order. And at the base foundational level, is an expectation of maturity. Yes, issues of politics are complex, Stephen. They are not about textbooks of political science. They are complex in nature. But what is required is that to the extent that they should not impede and encroach on the expectation of stable governance, the political players need to be brought together to make sure that they can find answers to those matters. The administration must be empowered to play its role. When it deviates from the rules, we don't expect Auditor General to issue material findings of a municipality because now they've got new powers, when in fact it falls into the full scope of the ecosystem of accountability. That's what we're asking. Where there is less politics, like you are saying, Xolile, there are instances where there is no complexity of politics, Stephen, but you don't find the political players in an establishment exercising what is expected of them, precisely because resources flow in, resources flow out, resources flow in. Until such time that the ecosystem works together, which is what is part of the discussion today, how do we advance our collective effort to ensure oversight and accountability is promoted first? Where there's weaknesses, we provide support as Parliament. And secondly, where we must play a role of invoking the instruments of our laws, we also don't shy away from doing so, so that we don't feed a system that is evidently self-destructive, primarily because we avoid to take action. There should be a combined effort of ensuring that all of us will play our role to make sure that we are all in service of better governance. We improve the quality of policy making. At the same time, expect the quality of governance to also improve in service of communities. That's what this conversation is all about.
Xolile George, thank you very much indeed. The Secretary to Parliament, I do appreciate the time.